Should you have special insurance coverage on your camper? If so, what do you need? What if Mr. Squirrel decides to make your camper his home this winter? Hmm. That's a question and more that we are going to cover on today's Grow Camper podcast as we visit with Melissa Gehrig from Progressive Insurance. She's been in the insurance industry for over 27 years and knows a thing or two about recreational products. She's an RV underwriter and loves all things RV and is a proud girl insurer. I'm your host, Lisa McDermott. So join us on today's podcast and stay tuned. Welcome, Girl Campers. I'm excited to have Melissa Gehrig from Progressive Insurance on today's episode. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you for having me again.
But before we dive into talking to Melissa about all things insurance, we want to thank today's Grow Camper podcast sponsor, Lippert Component. So we'll be right back. Kurt Echo Mobile Brake Controller is a world-first mobile Bluetooth brake controller that can give you an entirely new towing experience. It's easily plug and play into your RV wiring harness with no tools required. It connects wirelessly and syncs with your smartphone to control and monitor all trailer brake activities. Its compact, portable design allows for easy transfer from one vehicle to another and convenient storage when it's not in use. Check it out in the complete family of Echo units to find the best fit for your towing setup. Thank you, Lippert. We appreciate having you sponsor the Grow Camper podcast today. We couldn't be doing these episodes without you. Now, Melissa,
Yes.
yeah, right to talk to you. I am an insurance nerd. I have been in the risk management business in a previous career for over 10 years, working with self-insured trucking companies. So when you guys stepped up to be a sponsor of Grow Camper, I was so excited because insurance is such an important subject.
It is.
People may not really should have coverage on their campers. And then a lot of times they don't realize what kind of coverage they should be looking for because they may or may not have a very good agent, and we have to be proactive with ourselves and making sure we have the proper coverage for different things. And I'm excited to have you on today so we can talk about a lot of this.
Yeah. And insurance can be fun. So you and I get along great. So it's good to talk to you again.
We do. So, Melissa, let's dive right into it. Let's talk about the different kinds of basic insurance policies that people should have on their campers. What can you tell us about that?
Well, what we want to have, if we have a motor home, we want to make sure we have liability. So when we're driving, if we hit something, that's paid for, but also comprehensive and collision to protect our vehicles, and that being a travel trailer or a motor home. But we want to be protecting of the unexpected. And a lot of people do cover their trailers on a home policy, or like you said, don't cover them at all. And then something really unfortunate happens and you don't expect it. So having that policy gives you peace of mind when you're out traveling. And especially for us girls, when we're out there maybe alone traveling, we have peace of mind.
That's true. I think some people think, well, I don't need coverage on my travel trailer, my camper, because it's attached to my vehicle. And, I've heard that I don't need coverage because my vehicle coverage will cover that. But that isn't necessarily always true, is it? Once you unhook from that and you're at the campground and say a tree branch falls on you, then what?
Yeah, you would need to have your own travel trailer policy for that. But I also want to back up a little bit for what you just said. And I know this is something that's happened to both you and I. On the freeway recently this year, I was driving and my car just stopped in the middle of nowhere and my alternator went. So I didn't even have flashers, anything like that. So if something were to happen to you, and we're towing a traveler, and I know you have a little guy, I think, I remember?
I have a little guy.
Okay,
Yep, a little
you
guy
have a little
micro.
guy.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Mhm.
we're towing our trailer, and let's say something happens to the tow vehicle, not the trailer you have covered. Progressive covers that tow. So whatever you have in front of you towing that camper, we will pay to tow that. So that's a peace of mind knowing that a roadside assistance will really be in there to help you. And that's of course round the clock care. So that's a peace of mind that I really love encouraging everyone to make sure they have.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you did mention my trip out to California in April for Girl Camper Camporee, I broke down 3 times with my Jeep. Alternator problem for me too. And, luck
Alternators.
I did need to be towed actually at one point. And it was nice to know that I did have that peace of mind to that it was gonna get taken care of. I've
Right?
heard though, and these are things that I think, are important to discuss when we're talking about roadside assistance, people really need to understand when you have a travel trailer, more than likely that tow company is going to need to send out not 1, but 2, um, tow trucks, and
Mm.
they may not have 2 sitting around right at that time. So you wanna be prepared that when that tow truck comes, what are you having
Yeah.
in tow first? Your camper or your vehicle? Because we had a very sad situation a few years ago with a former girl camper guide where her car broke down, her tow vehicle, along a highway in, I believe, North Carolina,
Mhm.
and she had her tow vehicle towed, but she did not have coverage on her cute little vintage camper, and the next day when she came back to get it, it had
It
been
was
stolen,
I was going to
and
guess that.
yeah,
Mhm. So,
yeah, so
the
very, very sad
time
situation.
yeah, and I'm sure the time that she spent, and also the memories that hold in that camper for you are just too valuable to leave on the side of the road for 24 hours. So you wanna make sure that you have that so you don't feel alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And camper coverage, especially in travel trailers, isn't all that expensive. It's
No,
not like having the coverage on your vehicle, on the vehicle that you drive every day.
correct.
It's very affordable, and it is something that I think everybody really should consider having so that you don't run
Absolutely.
into these difficult situations, you know?
Absolutely. We
The other
saw it.
thing
There's, for any price, you can really build a policy to your need. But it is so affordable. Really find it hard that people do not have their trailer covered specifically because we have different coverages that your auto policy won't transfer. So I hope to talk about
mm,
those, or if we want to talk about them now, special coverages that only we have, that will help you in owning a vehicle and keeping it.
yeah, let's dive right into that because I think, with insurance, a lot of us is we don't know what we don't know, and when it comes to insurance coverages, I think that's a big one. We don't know that, there are, different insurance companies offer different coverages, and I know Progressive is really good at having some very special, uh, I don't know how you wanna call them, things that they cover,
Ancillary coverage. Yeah, well, definitely things that
ancillary thank you.
ancillary. Yeah, those are things we definitely want to make sure our customers know about, and we do promote them, um, every year since the pandemic. Trailer sales have skyrocketed. So, more and more
Mhm.
people are entering to be either a new camper or maybe upgrading to a better camper. So one of the coverages that I encourage every single person to get, if it's available in your state, which most will be, is a coverage we have called roof protection. And roof protection will be available to you on a trailer up to 5 years old, and you can get it in 5, 10, or $15,000 of coverage. And when you think about, or when I see claims all the time, every day, your roof is the most susceptible thing to the elements. It's exposed
Mhm.
365. So at Progressive, we really wanted to look for a way to provide coverage for people that were having this like pain point saying like my roof, something's going on and it's wear and tear. Previously that wasn't covered. So if you buy this
Hmm.
coverage, it's covered and I would never be without it if it was available. So if you have a new trailer up to 5 years old, please add that or please call us and get a policy with one because that's one I really think is the most important. Yeah, we have another one that kind of goes hand in hand with it when I think about it. Here in Ohio, our camping season, unless we're going south or somewhere else, we're going to get snow. So people will winterize their vehicle. And right now it's July, so we're not thinking about that yet. But pretty soon it will be upon us and it will be fall and it will get cold. So creatures need to find a home for the winter as well. So you might have a
Right.
critter discovery in the spring of maybe mice or who knows, a swarm of bees or things like that. Those things that you open that door in the spring to start your camping season and you see two eyes staring back at you, that's not a good feeling. So, you have like a family of raccoons in there now. So we offer pest protection, and that would be the same for up to 5 model years. You can add it and then keep it up to 15 years. So,
Wow.
critters love to find trailers to hunker down for the winter. So that is a really great coverage.
That is, that is. Now with that coverage, do you have that coverage also on motorhomes when they go in and they chew on the wires and things like that?
Yeah. And it's available for a travel trailer or a motorhome. And we know, you and I know how trailers are built. Everything is under your floor, all of your wiring. So
Right.
that's how they're getting in. So they're going to chew that to get in your trailer. I do have a funny story and I hope my coworker doesn't mind me sharing it. I thought it was cute, but he was opening his trailer for the spring and um had lifted up the bedding, and he does a great job. Of course, he knows everything there is to know about winterizing. But some critters, squirrels, had found their way in and had tucked acorn probably 2 or 3 inches under his mattress, under all the way around. So when they lifted the mattress, they had a perfect picture frame of acorn. So that was their
Oh my god.
savings account for the winter. These squirrels had, very neatly, put in those acorns, but, of course, there was damage of how they got in. So our pest protection would protect you against that.
Oh, that is very funny.
I
That's
love it.
oh, Mr. Squirrel. What about coverages for things that your personal belongings that are in your camper? Do
Mm.
you have coverages for that?
Oh, yeah. If when you go around and you're hunting for your perfect fit of your trailer or your motor home and you're touring and you're like, this is the layout I really like. But if you're like me and you get home, it's like, well, I'm gonna need this, and this because I'm not going, straight camping. I need some accoutrement to bring with me, and a lot of people don't realize that if you were to take your trailer and shake it and everything that falls out, that can be covered. So we'll cover up to
Hmm.
$99,000 for your stuff, and I really
Wow.
like, having that coverage and, the things that you take, I'm sure, like, if you're gonna do your podcast or, your computer,
Mhm.
um, things like that, your tablets, we wanna make sure that those are covered, and those are covered for any, comprehensive or collision loss. So that is definitely one I always think of.
No, I think now, doesn't
Yeah.
Progressive also have, like, pet coverage?
s- We love pet. And any policy that you get that has comprehensive and collision, we're going to give you $1,000 of pet protection. So if your pet hopefully would not be injured in an accident, that part is covered on your policy. So if Fluffy needs to go see a vet, if you've had a small collision or something like that, that would be covered. And our claims representatives would take care of you immediately with that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, our pet, I travel with mine all the time, so that is an important coverage, I believe, to have. So let's talk
Mhm.
too about total loss coverage, because I think this gets into the area again of you don't know what you don't know, and there's stated value policies and actual value policies.
Mhm.
So I think, we see sometimes people complaining, I insured my camper for $30,000, but the insurance company is only offering me 10. Um, you know, why is that? I mean, and this gets back to having a good agent too, to make sure
Right.
that you are not overpaying on your coverage. So, can you
Right.
explain the difference between the two?
Yeah, and actually we have 3 coverages. And, when
Oh,
I came from sales, so, like, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to use my hands, but I'm definitely a talker. But there's 3 different levels of coverage for your vehicle. And if you have a vehicle that you just got and it's this year or last year's model and it's never been titled, you can get with Progressive called total loss replacement. And that will, in your 5 years, your first 5 years of owning that vehicle, replace a new vehicle for your old vehicle if it's in a total loss. So let's say you bought a
mm,
$100,000 motorhome tomorrow and you called Progressive or you went online and got yourself your own policy. You can select that total loss replacement, and then after the 5 model years are up, you keep that for the life of your policy. So we are never gonna pay you
wow.
less than what's on that declaration page. So I know that is a huge deal. I know you and I have talked a lot about insurance over the years. That is huge. If you have a new vehicle that's eligible for that, you should be in contact with us right away.
So what are, the other 2 types of coverages that you offer?
We also offer agreed value policy, which are a policy that you and I agree on the value. So, your trailer is going to be worth $15,000, let's say. On your declaration page, it's going to list agreed value 15,000, and if it's in a total loss, we will pay the 15. So when you have people that you talk to that have a settlement that's way out of whack of what you described, make sure that you try to get that policy. And the third policy we offer is the actual cash value, which will depreciate, but it's less expensive. But as the years go by, our vehicles do lose value. So if you're comfortable with that, maybe you have an older trailer and you really don't want to spend that much on it, that actual cash value, um, we usually get pretty close to the listed value on the vehicle. So that one is completely available for any customer, but definitely if you're available for the total loss, always take that one.
So now do you guys offer coverages on vintage trailers? I know sometimes that's difficult for, gals to find coverage on their vintage ones.
I love looking at photos of vintage trailer. That's my favorite thing when I get an appraisal and I get to look at all the pictures of the before and after and the classic Airstreams and, oh, love, love. So, yes, I love looking at the pictures, let me just say. But, yeah, we have, policies that you can call. We can get you in touch with a specialist that if you have special needs for your coverage. So, those, checkered gingham, pink Airstreams that someone's brought back to life from the '50s, I adore looking at them, and I adore insuring them.
So along those lines that people finding, difficulty in finding coverage besides vintage is also someone like myself who has a DIY camper van. I
I
have that in addition to my little guy Micro. We have an old Sprinter cargo van that's been turned into a camper van. Um, that historically has been difficult to find coverage for as a camper van, but Progressive now has coverage for that type of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that came about?
Oh, absolutely. So, as I just said, I love looking at pictures. When I get an inspection coming in or I see a trend, I sense a trend that's happening, and that was post-COVID. A lot of people said, "I'm gonna get a van and just go where I want. I'm gonna work where I want, when I want." We have a lot of, young demographics that are maybe, content creators or they work remotely, so they're really not needing to be in an office. And I started to notice, hey, a lot of these people are trying to ensure it's not an Airstream Interstate, it's a camper van they built themselves.
Mhm.
Like you said, I think you said you had a transit. So this
We have a Sprinter.
last year we have opened. Oh, yeah. And so we open up if you have a Mercedes Sprinter, and you've put in the required amenities for a motorhome. So we need you to have sleeping, water supply, including a faucet and a sink, cooking
Hmm.
facilities. Um, we let you have a toilet as optional. It is not required. And then, you must have, like, heat, things like that. So, I'm really excited, and what we projected versus what we are seeing in volume has been unprecedented. I didn't even know there were this many DIY vans in the universe, let alone in the United States. So we really got there quickly, and all you need to do when you, buy a policy from us is click on the button, "This is a DIY van." That's it.
The other type of coverage that I think historically people have had a hard time finding is if they're full-timers on the road, that they don't have a stick and brick home somewhere. They're
Mhm.
strictly living out of their camper. But that's coverage that Progressive also offers now too. So, can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, full-timers, we love full-timers. When you go and you begin your full-timing, sometimes people will still kinda keep one foot at home and kinda try their first couple months on the road and go back, but once they fall in love with it, they're gone, and they're gonna see everything along Route 66 or, try to hit all 50 states and or, the 48, that we have here. So we really cater to full-timers. We offer special full-timers coverage, and what comes with that too, a lot of people don't understand, like, maybe you're a full-timer that has maybe a lot that you go to primarily for the year, and then you go from there as your home base. And if you have something there like a storage shed, we cover that. Your contents in the storage shed will cover that. Also, like, let's say your campground was flooded or, let's look at what just happened in Texas, right? And the campground
Mhm.
says, well, you're responsible for $3,000 for us to get the campground back to. its rightful place. So we'll pay up to $5,000 for you. And then we also, what comes with that is similar to like if you were to think of maybe a bubble going around with you, your liability coverage is increased as well. So it's similar to like your homeowner's coverage, where if you were to be sued if someone hurts themselves in your camp area or something like that, you have the liability protection. So those are when you talked, Lisa, at the beginning, and you said we don't know what we don't know, and you start to think about all these what ifs, like what if someone fell in my campfire and sues me? Well, you're covered. So
Mhm.
really,
And that's a really good point that I hadn't thought of when you talked about liability coverage for the camper. I'm thinking inside my camper, coming right outside my camper, coming down the steps, but in your camp area, that's a big thing. So
mhm,
that is fantastic to have that kind of coverage too.
yeah. And
Definitely, definitely.
these aren't, fun things. These aren't things that you're born to know. And when you buy a vehicle from a dealership, a lot of them are really good where they have their insurance like right on site, but some people go out on their own and they typically, sometimes just shop for price. And really, when you talk about all these things, how important is your vehicle to you and to protect it so that you can use it for more years and save more money? I think really to get this coverage, think about all of the ones we've talked about today. I just want to tell your girl campers, like camp like a girl. We love it. If you need us, we're here 24 hours a day and we've got your back. So really, when I think about it, and it really makes me proud. I've been with Progressive for 27 years, and our company motto right now, or what we're living by, is the phrase move forward and live fully. And that applies so much to
Nice.
us, right? And to you. When you're heading
Mhm.
out to your next event, you're moving forward and you're living your life fully. And that's progressive,
Yep.
what we embrace. So we want to help you do that. So I hope we didn't nerd out too many people talking about insurance, but we have to
I don't
protect our
so.
stuff. So it is a necessary, but it can be fun, you know. You and I have fun
We do. We
about it.
definitely again, it's yeah. We don't know what we don't know again, and I love that statement that you just had that you guys, follow because it really aligns with Girl Camper's motto of going places, doing things.
Mhm.
So,
But
yeah,
it's
move forward, live
perfect.
fully,
Live
definitely.
fully. And I encourage anyone, but especially, girl campers, like move with your heart, do what you love. Let us protect your stuff and your items, but let your soul be free and move forward. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, have some peace of mind. So, Melissa, it has been great having you on, but before we conclude,
Okay.
what is the weirdest claim you have ever seen? Can you tell us?
There are so many. I don't want to divulge any private information from anyone that's made a claim. Some things I can tell you about that sometimes people try to get in, um, are I've seen a military tank come in as an RV, and I'm like, "Are you really going RVing in a tank? Going 1 mile an hour? Where are you
Or
going?" So, some weird things have come through, um, odd claims. Some are just too specific to name, but I can tell you I've seen a lot of things, submitted as an RV, which, I'm kind of, "Hmm, let me see that one," and for sure comes back as I suspected.
I always think of the Ron White, the comedian's gig where he submits a claim for I think it was something house loss or something, and the adjuster says to him, "Well, Mr. White, what kind of clock radio did you have? As soon as you let us know, we can reimburse you for the value of it." And he says, "Rolex?"
I think we all had, like, the same clock radio in the '80s. I think every family had that. Was that brown one that had the knot
That
on the
that
top and
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for coming on today. We really
you.
appreciate it. Where can people get more information, about the coverages that Progressive offers?
I would say the best place to start is to go to 800 Progressive on your phone, but www.progressive.com will get you, to our page. We have a lot of information there about maintaining your RV, road trip ideas. We have a lot of good stuff on there, but it'll also tell you how to get a quote with us, how to find an agent in your area. So, progressive.com is probably the best place to find us. Unless you have a tank, call someone else on that.
Well, thank you, Melissa. We sure appreciate it.
I'm so happy to talk to you again, Lisa. You're always a fun neighbor to talk to, and tell Janine I said hi, and have a great Tuesday.
Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching or listening if you are podcasting. And a special thanks to Melissa Garrett from Aggressive Insurance for being on our show today. We sure learned a lot. And if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Be sure to connect with Grow Camper online on our website, Facebook, and Instagram accounts, and check out all of the events that our Grow Camper guides have lined up for the rest of this season. There's a lot of them still to come, and join us in all of the fun. Until next week, I'm Lisa McDermott, and I'll catch you by the campfire.